back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Kristian and John here on this Monday. Joining me, you might know him from the other side of the Kalinowski Roca beef on Twitter.
What?
John Roca is here. Hello, Roca.
Me and my hate boner are hanging out here in San Diego.
What are you guys doing? Why are you doing this on Twitter?
I didn't do anything. Michael reached out to me because I posted about the Gunn comments, the latest nonsense from James Gunn saying the Superman doesn't need to make $700 million in order to be a success, which is ridiculous to say that on the eve of the film coming out. And then Michael said, why do you have such a hate boner for this movie? First of all, I've said nothing negative about the movie, just talking about some of the stuff around crypto or the robots. But overall, I've been very positive about the footage I've seen. If you watch my trailer reactions, hell, I even predicted James Gunn would take over the DCU on the hot mic 2 years ago. So, like, to me, I don't understand why people are mad that I'm pointing out some inconsistencies.
Wait. Stop.
Go ahead.
You can't say you don't understand why people are mad.
You have been,
John Roca. You've been going at this man.
Right. But I've been rightfully calling him out. That's why I don't understand it.
But you don't think rightfully is subjective here?
I don't. I think there are some things that are facts.
All right.
And I think some things you can say, like, well, why would you say something like this?
Okay.
Why are you saying this when we know the truth is something opposite? So to me, that's where I get a little bit of the kind of like, I don't understand how people are not seeing this stuff. And I think people have their Gunn rose-colored glasses on and they refuse and ear plugs, and they refuse to hear any kind of negativity about the things he's saying.
I don't think that there's no truth in that. I don't think that there's not.
Thank you. Thank you for
saying I don't think that there's. I absolutely. We and that's not just with James Gunn. That's any fandom that we've talked about many times over. That there's people who say, "How dare you say these things about it? It means that you hate everything." Dude, I just got that for Ironheart. I had one guy. Right?
Oh, you're racist if you don't like us.
100%. The guy was like, "I wonder why it's okay if white Tony Stark is in a cave." And I guess I said, you know, I wrote back. I went, "Boo!" I said, "Boo for you for writing that." I said, "That's where you have to go with that." Boo, sir.
Yeah.
I'm like, you can say I don't agree with your analysis. I don't agree with this. I don't. But boo that you have to go there just because you like it and I don't. Boo to you. But nonetheless, you know, there are people who are just like, look, and I've gotten it. I've gotten on both sides of Superman. That either I'm a shield for DC, I want to see everything, or I hate everything about it, and I'm a Zack Snyder, all that stuff that's come in. We've talked about that many times over, right?
Well,
So what I'm saying, I agree with you that portion comes of it, but you have also been in a spot to where I even said to you last week, it does seem to me that you are going after Gunn a little bit more than other people you've gone after past. You don't like his ego, you don't like these things. You go after him a little harder than you do normally on other people, or maybe The Rock. You go on maybe.
No,
I don't know, as hard.
You say I go after people. I say I'm a consistent person. If you are saying dumb stuff or saying lies or saying things that aren't 100% true, I'll say that 100% true. I don't want to accuse somebody of lying. Then yes, I'm going to call you out. And I don't care that I'm a fan of yours or not. That's why, like, I pride myself on the consistency of that. I don't defend people just because they're my friends or my family. If they're wrong, they're in the wrong. I'm going to call them out. I've been a fan of James Gunn's movies since Slither or something. Like, I have enjoyed his movies for years. But the way he's been rolling out Superman, to me, there's a lot of double talk.
Okay.
There's a lot of
said to you though. But it is subjective, you said. So you just said,
well, sure, everything is subjective. Sure. Other people will look at what he's saying and go, that's logical. That makes all the sense in the world. That's fine. But I think The Rock is the same thing. Let me tell you how Black Adam made money. And it's like, well, when people are lying, you have to call them out. And you can't be caught up in your fandom. If you were pulling crap, I would call you out. Like, this is just kind of how I'm built. So, you know, people want to hate me if they want, but I like to think that's consistent.
I mean, you have been consistent with this. There's no doubt about it. You've been consistent. I know.
Perhaps, but I did praise him the other day. I did say when James Gunn responded about the movie, I said, God, I hope we get the movie that James is talking about because I would love to see that movie. So I said that in a positive way to try to balance it out because people are so crazy about it. Maybe I've been more positive about it.
You know, you can't win in this situation.
No, of course not.
Movie tonight. When you see this movie, people are expecting you to hate this movie. So if you don't like this movie and you don't,
and even if I do like it, they'll be like, well, he's just saying that for whatever. So yeah, there's no winning on this.
Yeah, but I think you lose less if you hate it, because I think that people, I mean, more. I think you hate you lose more, just because people are I'm expecting you to hate it. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I've
seen nothing of the film that I hate other than some of the crypto stuff. That's the thing. If you go back and watch the trailer reactions, I'm so positive about Corn Sweat, positive about the action, positive about Brosnan and Nicholas Hoult.
Yeah.
I have no complaints.
All right, summer. It is here. More sun, more light, more time to do all the things that make summer so special. Number one thing you don't want to do all summer, you don't want to spend hours cooking inside. Trust me, it's hot. That's where Factor comes in. Factor chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals are ready in just 2 minutes, taking the hassle out of eating well. Factor meals arrive fresh and ready to eat, perfect for any active lifestyle over summer and beyond. Factor powers your day sun up to sundown with nutritious breakfast, on-the-go lunches, premium dinners, and guilt-free snacks and desserts. Factor has your whole day covered. Enjoy more this summer and get Factor if you want all the flavors and none of the fuss. Absolutely love Factor. You guys know I've been talking about Factor forever because it is so good, and they give you the options that you need. If you have a particular diet that you're on, that for me is like, I'm all about the protein right now, guys. And boy, did they have just delicious stuff. I love coming back from, if it's a day at work, if it's something that I need to do if I'm coming back from the gym, Factor has me covered. So get started at factormeals.com/Christian50off. Use that code Christian50off to get 50% off free shipping on your first box. That's code Christian50off at factormeals.com/Christian50off for 50% off plus free shipping. Factormeals.com/Christian50off.
So
look, I also don't think you're not one of these people that you're going to go in with your arms folded and a pouty face. Like, if you like it, you like it. But I think that there's something that you just don't like in general about what James Gunn is doing. And I think that's going to live in there. I think that's going to live in there in the movie, and I think it's going to be harder for you to dive into the film. I could be wrong, but it just feels like that.
As people know, and you're going to see in the Geek Buddies episode later today, I know people who know him, and they say he's an asshole. And I know people who know Zack Snyder, and they say he's a great guy. So there's a difference. And so you see that. So what we're seeing now is something that I think James has kind of been sitting on for a while. And now because it's easy to hide behind Kevin Feige and the shield of Marvel. Now you're the front man. And when you're the front man, all your stuff comes out. And so I think that's what you're seeing in his behavior. He's got a little bit of the goalpost moving, a little bit of the convenient double talk.
Yeah.
And if this film underperforms, I don't know how he's going to handle it,
So to push back a little bit.
Yeah, sure. Please.
I can also say that I know some people who know him, and I hear that he's a great person. So it's like, it's always again, subjective, right? And it depends who you're talking to. It depends on what day they caught the person on. Maybe if he was a great person and he had an asshole day, that your friend caught him on that day, or the vice versa, that he was in great
these people have worked with him. It's not a one day.
You're saying working in general. Yeah. I'm talking about people who hang out with him constantly and like know him well. And every actor that's worked with him likes working with him. Right, at least the ones that I know.
You can say that for Snyder, yet people come after Snyder.
Sure. I'm not.
The irony is the same people who are coming for me for the gun and saying, "Why you hate on him so much? Why you dick munching?" Are the same people who've doing that to Snyder for 10 fucking years. Like, seriously, take a look in the mirror. Like, for God's sakes, look at yourself and be like, "Oh yeah, I was doing the exact same thing. Why was it okay when I was doing it, but I'm mad at him for doing it?"
This movie. But I will say though. I don't buy into the fact that I know you and Snyder talked about it last week because we covered it on the show where you guys were talking about the opening weekend numbers, right? And what Snyder said that I gave him credit for, right? He said, "Look, tracking is bullshit." He's like, you don't know what it. He's like, "Look, I heard it 175 at one point. I heard 85 at one point. I heard this, I heard that." He's like, "You can't tell because I keep using Minecraft. No one expected Minecraft to have that opening weekend, right?"
Sure,
but I think. I'm just saying, I think the conversations that we're having right now, and even talking to my friend today, who I see, who's just a casual person, is like, I was walking around the city, all I saw was Superman stuff. This Superman's going to do well. It's going to do very well. It's not going to underperform. It's going to hit that $600-700 million. It's going to perform.
Yeah, but okay.
Go ahead.
I think you have to do more than 700 with the way you've presented this film. And that's why I took issue with James Gunn's comments, because I'm like, that makes no sense. This is Superman. And to push back a little on what Kalinowski said on the tweet, this isn't Iron Man. This is Superman. This is the crown jewel of DC. This side of, you're not going to start a DC universe off Batman's back. You're going to start it off Superman's back because that's a 4-quadrant film. And that's what you want kids and adults and grandparents and all. They all know Superman. They know what Superman stands for. And so if you decided that I am going to direct this film, and I know how he presented that Peter Safran begged him to do it, whatever. But if you are going to direct this film and you have a proven box office track, everybody over the weekend was like, James Gunn don't miss. Shut the fuck up. James Gunn makes $800 million. Okay. If that's your reasoning, then you can't turn around and say, well, if it makes 600, that's totally fine. That's inconsistent logic. If you're telling me the reason it's going to explode and do well is because he's done well with all his superhero films before, then you can't come at me and tell me that it's nonsense to expect it to make more than $700 million. That doesn't make sense. And so I'm looking at it in that, I'm using their logic. And that's the thing. Even they are pushing back on their own logic, which makes no sense.
I guess so. I guess for him, the way he's looking at it is with his production budget in general, right? Because I think that what it does come to, where I will agree with Mike Kalinowski in the Iron Man section of it, because I also agree with you. The IP of itself at the time, Iron Man did not carry the weight that a Superman did. 1,000%. Yeah. But to defend Mike, even though he's not here, and what I would assume is it has the weight of Iron Man in starting a cinematic universe.
But no one knew they were starting a cinematic universe.
No, maybe not.
They do now.
Well, they had it was the inception of it. They did know they were starting it because they had Nick Fury talking about the Avengers.
But they could have fallen apart if that film had not done well.
Of course, but that doesn't take away from the weight of it. It's the weight is still there. But they both are launching something, and this has the Superman power behind it. But I think that what it also has is that, look, James Gunn's looking at it as like, for me, I know what I spent on this movie production-wise, and I know how badly Warner Brothers needs this movie to succeed. Yeah. They are putting in a significant amount of marketing into it, to which we knew that we needed as well.
Probably $200 million.
Maybe so. And I think that he's looking at it, I need to make my production budget back. That's what I need to make back. And I think that's what he's looking at inside of that $700 million, right? So if the
why even say that? Like, but why even?
Maybe you shouldn't. That's a different conversation.
You shouldn't say anything.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, that's the problem with all of this, is that where is David Cornsweet? Where is Rachel Brosnahan? Where is Nicholas Hoult? Why are you taking center stage? These three should be taking center stage, just like Fantastic Four. You catch Matt Shackman or Feige rolling out there making all these comments? No, it's Pedro, it's Vanessa, it's Joseph Quinn, it's other people who are people cover. Did it have Matt Shackman on the cover, or was it the 4 actors? It was the 4 actors. The Rolling Stone cover. Who was on the cover? Oh, it was fucking James Gunn. That's the thing you look at, is like, it's a little bit like, let the actors do because everything Cornsweet and Brosnahan have said about the movie, it is charming. It is fantastic. It's great. It sells the movie.
I know, but I think that also the argument again could be made at this point where you're at with Marvel, right? You're so far along with Marvel, and Marvel has spoke for itself. Granted, they're needing to have a comeback, and the Fantastic Four is promoting those 4, where the story of this franchise at the moment is the manager of the baseball team. It's the story. James Gunn is the story. He really is. He's the story. Whether you like the fact that he's the story or not, which
he has made himself the story. He has made himself the story.
I think a lot of people have made himself the story. I think that even you talking about him has made him the story. I mean,
that's fair. But I'm only talking about him because he's out here talking. If he wasn't saying anything,
but he's made himself the story. You are helping the story, and because of that, people are clicking on the interviews, and he's becoming the story, and maybe rightfully so. He's you use your promotion,
or wrongfully. It depends.
Or wrongfully. We'll have to see with the opening weekend. You know,
I think the PR rollout has nothing to do with the quality. Again, nothing to do with the quality of the film.
Yeah,
got to put again. I clarify this because Kalinowski's tweet was so weird.
I tried to get him on the show. I tried to get him on the show to have you talk to him, but he's not around. I don't think
he has my number. We've been friends for 20 plus years.
It's hilarious that he went after you.
And I think it's funny. It's funny. The guy who co-hosts DC News is going to come at me saying that I'm biased. I think that's funny. But like, you look at this whole thing and you're like, come on, it's very clear what is going on here to me.
Yeah.
And if people are like, someone wished death on me on Twitter, and I retweeted that, and it was like, come on, guys, it's just an effing movie. He's just a director. He's flesh and bone, just like you. and he is not. He's not impervious to criticism. I don't think any creative is impervious to criticism.
Right.
And I don't think I'm going like you're saying. I'm obsessed with him. I'm not talking about.
I didn't say you're obsessed. I didn't say obsessed. I said that you're to me, knowing you as long as I do, you are to me going after him. It seems like more than I've seen you go after other people in the past.
Well, I think other people have spoken just as much as James Gunn, but they haven't said as much doublespeak or bullshit or convenient goalpost moving stuff as he has said. And I think if they had, you'd have seen me go. I don't want to make that comparison because people are going to think I'm making a comparison, but like there have been people in the past, like when I was at Collider, I went after Bryan Singer all the time for the bullshit people, but of course I'm not comparing what I was going after Bryan Singer, but like when people do wrong, I'm not afraid to call them out.
But I think that's the difference. Okay, but I know that you didn't want to use that example, but because you did, the difference I think in a situation like that is that what was going on at the time, the majority at the time. I know, but the majority of people, when you hear the things and the allegations and things that are going on at that time, that's like people are gonna
of course,
right. But as opposed to a movie that hasn't come out, you haven't seen the movie yet, and you still haven't let it.
And I'm not saying anything about the movie, by the way. Been very clear.
But would you? Okay, so here's another side of this. If this movie winds up crushing, going way past that 700 million, and hitting close to $1 billion.
Great.
Would you then say, "Hey, look, maybe I was wrong here"? Maybe fact that, no, you wouldn't.
No, not at all. Whether the movie is whether the movie is, and I don't mean again like to you, I'm saying to the people who are saying this, whether the movie is a success or not is irrelevant to my feelings about how he's been rolling out the PR. Okay. Bobby Knight was a success as basketball coach. Did I like that he was choking his players and throwing chairs across the hall? No, I didn't. But he got the results.
But again,
so it depends on your point of view. Do you like the results or do you not like them? Okay, fine. Davey Johnson. I didn't like Davey Johnson. He was a prick, but he got the best out of his teams when he was coaching the teams, right? But I didn't like him. He was an utter prick. So you look at the situation. It's the same thing for me. If I go Sports Connection, like, look, Tarantino has had some, for me, has had some, made some inappropriate comments about women. He's done some inappropriate things to female actresses on his sets, putting his hands, choking Diane Kruger in Inglourious Basterds. That's his hands you see in the movie.
Okay.
Those are things that I did not, and I've called him out on it. The saintly, hallowed Quentin Tarantino. I don't have hero worship other than Tom Cruise. I mean, honestly, I'll be admit, I let Tommy get away with murder. I'm not gonna lie to you. But
you let The Rock go for a long time.
Well, I didn't see the stuff like other people did until I saw it. But that's the thing. I'm not afraid to call anybody out. I'm not caught up in hero worship, and I get that other people are, but that's for them. And so I'm not afraid to do it. And so and people may hate me for it, but I pride myself on the fact that I'm not afraid of any of these creatives or, don't say anything negative about this person. I would have to force Daisy for Killers of the Flower Moon.
I know, but I guess for me right now is I just don't, look, clearly I know you well enough. You're not just making this stuff up. This is how you feel. Yeah. I just don't feel that this criticism is warranted yet, in my opinion.
Because you think the results matter.
I do.
The results, and I do not. That's why we're different in that.
Agreed.
And look, I hope the movie does. I hope the movie is great and people love it, because we do need a good Superman movie. I think with everything that's going on in the world, especially with what happened in Texas, the sadness that's going on in Texas with all those lives, people want a place to escape into, a Superman movie they can believe in. And I hope this is what people get. I hope I like the movie tonight. I know half the audience probably doesn't believe me. I want to like the movie, and I hope I do like the movie. But if I don't like the movie, it's because I authentically didn't like the movie. And if I do like it, it's because I authentically liked it. And so,
Oh my goodness. What a way to start. Put your thoughts in there. What do you make of all of this? What do you make of the James Gunn conversations thus far? What do you make about criticisms, if they are just, are they unjust? What do you think about friends settling things on Twitter instead of calling each other like human beings? Put your thoughts in there. Let us know.